Hello, hello. I hope that you're having a super fantastic day. I hope that your day is going well. I wanted to hop on a topic today. And I wanted the topic, it's a three-part topic, but we're going to put it all together, right? Because they all make sense together. Prioritizing yourself, triggers, and setting boundaries. Prioritizing yourself, triggers, setting boundaries. So let's talk about that just for a bit, right? Especially on my drive. Prioritizing yourself, meaning putting yourself first, making sure that you are healthy and that you are good and that you are okay. So that when you make decisions and do different things, you're doing it out of love and kindness. And you're not doing it out of frustration and anger or things that's causing you, to just not be yourself, right? We don't want to do that. But you have to prioritize yourself so that you can focus on the good things and you can help others. If you're not prioritizing yourself, you won't focus on the good things. You will constantly, be going against the grain. You will constantly be angry. And things just will constantly not work out because that's what you're manifesting. Triggers. You should learn what triggers you. And a lot of people don't know. They don't realize what triggers them until, guess what? The trigger is happening. Figure out what triggers you. Or when something happens that does trigger you, remember that. Keep that at the top of your mind or somewhere around. So when you see it coming, you can bow out gracefully. You can move on. You can move forward. You can not deal with it, right? You can figure out how that's happening and what's happening so that you don't have to deal with that, right? Triggers. And triggers could be anything. I know for me, a trigger for me would be getting a really late night, early morning phone call. Immediately, I think something is wrong. And I don't like that. So to prevent that, what I normally do is I have my phone in another room, not even in the room with me. If it is in the room with me, the ringer is probably off. Or if it's in the room with me, it's nowhere near me, right? And then I still have it on like vibrate or something like that. So that way, if I'm asleep, I won't hear it. Because if I do, when that trigger happens for me, the anxiety automatically shows up. And then I automatically feel like something is going on. Something is wrong or something is happening. And then once I answer the phone, and it's probably something as simple as, hey, Key, what are you doing? Hey, Key, how you doing? Right? It's something as simple as that. And if that is the case, now my anxiety is there. Now I can't go back to sleep because it was already worked up before the event happened, and I'm thinking something is going on. And guess what? It really is not. And because it's not, that's a great thing, right? But the anxiety is already there. The trigger has already been triggered. And so I can't go back. I can't directly go back to sleep. I'm trying to relax so that I can calm down and just get myself in a good place. But I know that's a trigger. So to prevent that, what do? I don't have my phone near me because I know what my triggers are. So learn your triggers. It could be a person. It can be a situation. It can be an event. Your trigger could be anything. But whatever it is, find out what it is. Figure out what it is. And once you do, make it so that it doesn't bother you or that you can prevent it as best you can. Or when it does happen, that you don't allow it to take a toll, right? Take preventative measures to prevent those triggers from happening. And ultimately, set boundaries, right? When you're setting boundaries, then that's how you can also prevent those triggers. Like me and those persons that are in my life, I'm like, hey, don't call me in the middle of the night. If it's not an emergency, don't call me. And if you know me, then you know what I consider an emergency. So if our emergency is not on the same page, don't call me. Don't do that. Because I know that's a trigger. So that's me setting a boundary to say, hey, don't call me in the middle of the night. Don't call me in the wee hours of the morning. That's not good for me. Right? So if it's not an emergency, save your phone call until the next day. Or guess what? Shoot me a text. When I get up, I'll see it. Right? Don't allow people to do those things that's going to cause triggers in your life and then cause you to get off balance. because you have to prioritize yourself. You have to make sure that you're putting you first. This way, you can support yourself and what you have going on and what it is that you want to do in your life. And it gives you the capacity to be able to help others. It'll give you the capacity to be able to help others when you prioritize yourself. Prioritizing yourself is not being selfish. It's not selfish by any means. But what it does, it allows you to be able to prioritize yourself. Put yourself in a good space and in a good place. And then once you do that, you are able to help others. You have the capacity to be able to give, be it your time, be it your money, whatever it is you have, you're able to give, and you're able to give out of love and kindness, out of peace and happiness, from a space and a place that doesn't require you to feel frustrated, angry, like I've got to show up. You're going to want to show up. So start by prioritizing yourself, determining or figuring out your triggers, and setting boundaries. That's our talk for today. Prioritizing yourself, learning, defining, finding out what are your triggers, and setting boundaries. Ultimately, you can't set a boundary if you're not beginning to prioritize yourself. You can't set a boundary, or you can set a boundary once you know your triggers. But knowing your triggers help you be specific with those boundaries. So figure that out. We'll have another conversation about that real soon, because I think that is extremely important, right? Prioritizing yourself, determining and figuring out what are your triggers, and setting boundaries. Because ultimately, you need to protect your peace, and you need to protect yourself, and you need to protect those around you. But to do that, you've got to prioritize yourself. You have to determine what are your triggers, and you have to set boundaries. But all three of those go together, right? You can do one without the other, but guess what? It'll repeat itself again and again until you get at a place where you've set all three. You decided to prioritize yourself. You've determined your triggers, and then you set your boundaries. So that's what we're going to focus on, and we're going to have this conversation again. So have a super fantastic day on purpose, and in everything that you do, do it out of love and kindness. We'll talk soon.